Hello and welcome to my presentation about my literature review. It's called Musical Self-Efficacy and Motivation, a review of the literature. The purpose of this review was to investigate musical self-efficacy in secondary education and examine the effect of musical self-efficacy on students' motivation to continue in performing arts classes, aka band, chorus, and orchestra. This research topic is highly relevant to performing arts students, their school community, and directors interested in recruiting and retaining motivated performing arts students.
The resources assisting the search for this literature review included Sage Journals, the UGA Library, Google Scholar, and the University of Georgia Music Research Nexus. In the four databases accessed for this literature review, Music Research Nexus, Sage Journals, UGA Library, Google Scholar, the following search terms yielded the most relevant results to this review of literature: student musical self-efficacy and student musical self-efficacy and retention. After finding the most interesting and relevant articles with primary data, I collected and reviewed the most relevant articles in those articles' references section. One recent study explored the problem of student retention in music, specifically between 8th and 9th grade, Levine 2019. The scope of the dissertation sounded more like action research than a peer-reviewed article because Levine consistently described the dissertation's participants as a sample of convenience and determined by the availability of middle schools and the researcher's ability to conduct meaningful research. The dissertation concluded that teachers should nurture confidence levels and improve self-efficacy beliefs while encouraging students' desires to continue music education as they transition to high school. One study actually measured the musical self-efficacy of middle school orchestra students. Zelenak 2015 surveyed 290 students from western Colorado and southwestern Florida. 153 of the students took chorus, 87 took band, and 50 took orchestra. Self-efficacy could develop with age, so the study was limited by only surveying middle and high school students. Mastery experience had the greatest degree of influence, followed by verbal, social persuasion, physiological state, and vicarious experience. The correlation between self-efficacy and achievement in music performance has also been examined by Zelenak 2019. 73 secondary school instrumental students from the southeastern United States were chosen for auditioning for the all-county ensembles. The sample was admittedly a convenient sample and relatively small, but included 15 middle school band students, 34 high school band students, and 24 middle school string students. Zelenak determined that inactive mastery was the strongest positive predictor of self-efficacy. This means that Zelenak 2015 and Zelenak 2019 determined that self-efficacy was most influenced by mastery experience, corroborating the social cognitive theory developed by Bandura in 1986. Cogdill reviewed and synthesized self-efficacy theory, attribution theory, flow theory, and fixed and growth mindsets, then proposed that knowing the type of intelligence and best learning practice of their students would help teachers increase music achievement in their classrooms. Overall, the article placed more emphasis on attribution theory and musical self-efficacy than flow and growth mindset. The entire article felt short to read and hardly previewed the latter two music education models. Cogdill wanted to discuss the characteristics of children and adolescents that may account for the different motivational patterns they display, and those characteristics have been studied both quantitatively and qualitatively. The purpose of one such qualitative study was to determine factors that contribute to students' decision to continue to participate in high school orchestra programs, ladpum 2019. ladpum intended to understand the experience of high school orchestra students, especially the factors which determine whether they continued or not. The study was limited by its small number of participants, only 287, and geographically limited location, just a single school district in Texas. In conclusion, the orchestra teachers should find ways of making orchestras seem more exciting and involving in order to reduce the rates of student attrition, including programming and scheduling of events such as concerts, trips, and contests, engaging in more student-centered pedagogical approaches, and building a sense of community within their orchestra programs. A 10-year longitudinal quantitative analysis explored the commitment and practice of performing arts students to see if those constructs were relevant to competence and sustained musical engagement over that time period. Evans and McPherson 2015. The participants included 157 children in band aged 7 to 9 years and participated from 1997 to 2007. One aspect missing from the study was measuring the time commitment, practice, and musical engagement of orchestra and chorus students in the same age group. Students with a long-term musical identity benefited from explicit discussions at school about the kinds of experiences that they can benefit from in musical ensembles. students with a growth mindset were able to articulate music learning as part of their personal identities and possess a strong long-term view of their abilities and profile as musicians. Similarly, Gibson 2016 investigated the perceptions of 8th grade band students about high school band programs and the influence of marching band on their decision to participate in high school band. 282 8th grade band students in the southeastern United States took the perceptions of high school band assessment. The study was limited because 282 participants in the southeastern United States does not generalize to the entire U.S. population or middle school orchestra students, but it highlighted reasons students tend to drop from band between 8th and 9th grade. Compulsory marching band participation who enroll in the band program, repertoire selection, academic conflicts, peer influences, time commitment required to participate, and bullying. In another quantitative experiment concerning the motivation of 378 band students, the study examined the effects of various motivators on student decision-making as it relates to band participation in the middle grade years. Howard, 2019. Motivation of middle school band students was analyzed and assembled into a hierarchy of importance to prioritize the recruiting and retaining methods within the music program. Key roles in the decision to stay or drop from band were determined to be family support, peer influence, relationship with the teacher, the possibility of enjoyment and future performance opportunities, basic enjoyment, and musical success. If students believe their failure is due to low ability, they react differently than students who solely blame their effort for the failure. The purpose of the Dweck and Yeager article was to tell the story of a research program on people's beliefs about the nature of human attributes and the consequences of differing beliefs. Whether they believe the failure came from fixed or growth cause, some children simply wilted, whereas others showed a remarkable tendency to relish the challenge. If teachers understood what fixed and growth mindsets were, then they could correctly communicate it to their students. Another study examined 120 students in summer camp to better understand the variety of ways in which student self-efficacy beliefs and motivation to engage in music may be influenced in a variety of settings. Hendricks and Smith instructed teachers to provide music education offerings in which students have sufficient ownership, choice, and control over their own learning. However, they did not make statistical comparisons between the two summer camps attended by the participants and relied on qualitative data instead. Other studies have narrowed down the influences of students to continue performing arts groups, including social interactions with peers, the teacher's sense of accomplishment, and positive emotional experiences of band. Renninger, 2021. Renninger attempted to discover the reasons middle school band students remain in or leave band between grade levels. Inhibiting generalization to other band programs, Renninger recruited his own band students for a qualitative study. Wang and Wong, 2022, discovered that a central cognitive factor motivating music students to remain in the performance field is musical self-efficacy. They developed a structural model to best explain the outcome of career intention from 5 different inputs: social support, career barrier, autonomous motivation, self-efficacy, and outcome expectation. 58.3% of the variance in participants' career directions were explained by the integrated theoretical model. However, the model failed to predict career intentions over time. A longitudinal research design might clarify the model's effect over a longer period of time.
Many perspectives on motivation exist, but this literature review focused on musical self-efficacy. Musical self-efficacy describes the beliefs about one's ability to accomplish musical goals. Musical self-efficacy can influence the ways in which music students view themselves, their place in society, their reasons for performing music, and the effort they put forth to reach higher levels of achievement. Students with a higher musical self-efficacy will continue to practice and work harder, while other students will consider failure to stem from low ability or talent. Therefore, they may retain a negative self-concept or self-efficacy. Key roles in the decision to stay or drop from band were determined to be family support, peer influence, relationship with the teacher, the possibility of enjoyment and future performance opportunities, basic enjoyment, and musical success. Self-efficacy of performing arts students is altered in various ways: by direct mastery experience, by vicarious modes of influence, by social persuasion, and preferred incentives. Therefore, teachers should provide a way to improve students' abilities and confidence by regarding the 4 sources of self-efficacy and career expectations from Bandera 1997 to encourage students to choose a related career. Thank you again for watching my presentation.